you lovely learners out there in learning land. Tyler from tenthumbsproductions coming at you with another ukulele tutorial like we do every single Wednesday and Saturday. Today we're going past the pentatonic. What I mean by that is we're going to learn an entire jazz solo, but I'm going to teach you how to use those two notes that are in the major scale that aren't in the pentatonic scale. Printable tabs for this lesson by becoming a Patreon. You will see links up in the notes, backing tracks as well. Additional tabs in the links, including my email if you want some one-on-one lessons. Plus our other social networks. Ready to go past the pentatonic? That's cool with me. I dig it and I respect it. Grab the ukulele. And once you've hit subscribe, ring the bell, hit that like button, follow me on in, and let's go ahead and break this lesson down together. Come on in. The D major pentatonic scale, starting from the D note on the C string. This is shape 1. Check out how to master shape 1. I'll put a link in the description. That way, so you're not just running through the scales, but you can master them. Shape 1 of the pentatonic, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 5. Penta means 5. This is a 5-note scale. The major scale is 7 notes. We have 2 notes missing, the C sharp and the G. So if you turn this shape into the D major, you get 2, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5. From the D string, we get 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5. So how do we use the C sharp and how do we use the G note? Let's talk about that. We're going to need 3 chords for today. E minor, A7, D major 7. D major 7, bar that 2nd fret and get your ring finger on the 4th fret. And we're going to just basic 1 measure of E minor, 1 measure of A7, 1 of D major 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what we're soloing over, and that is what we're going to use the full major scale over. Okay, so the first 4 measures, they sound like this. And that would play over those chords I just played for you. So what's happening is our first little riff, 2, 4, 2, 3, 2nd fret of the C string, 4th fret here, 2nd and 3rd. Pentatonic, 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 past the pentatonic, this G note. E minor, this G note is a chord tone. So when you play a chord, you can use any notes in that chord when you're soloing, even if it's not in the scale that you're playing. So D pentatonic doesn't have that G note, but because my E minor chord does have that G note, I'm able to just throw it in there really easy. All right, so that's nice and easy. When the A7 comes up, 2, 4, 2, pentatonic, 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 1. Make an A7, and you'll see this C sharp note, which is also outside of the pentatonic, is a chord tone. Again, meaning if that note is in the chord, you can solo with that note anytime you want, even if it's not in the scale. So we got our C sharp in there pretty easy and our G note in there pretty easy. The D major 7 has a C sharp note in it itself. D chord, D major 7. A D major 7 is a D chord with the addition of a C sharp note. So here at the end, when we go, we're simply playing the C sharp note over our D chord because it's really a D major 7. Again, we're just playing a chord tone. So that's how it works with these chord tones. That's why when we play these 4 measures, we're able to use these notes that aren't in the pentatonic because they are in the chord that we're playing over. That even extends to something called non-diatonic chords. If you're using a chord in your song that actually isn't even in the key and you want to solo over it, looking at the chord tones is a good way to get that involved. So let's take a look at the next 4 measures. Over the E minor, we're going to play. Okay, so what's going on here? 2 things. We got our G note involved. So we have pentatonic, 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 major scale, major scale. Well, what happens over our E minor when we play a C sharp note? A C sharp is not in the E minor. It's not in the E minor 7, but what it does is it creates a chord called an E minor 6. So you can use it in that sense to create what's called a color tone. So you can use them for chord tones, and you can also use them to create extended chords. Over the A7, we're going to play, and we're going to land on this G note instead of the C sharp. Now, the G note is not in an A chord, but it is in an A7. In fact, the G note is what turns the A major into an A7. So let's say hypothetically you were just playing just the G and you played this solo phrase over it. Well, your solo would turn that A into an A7. Then lastly, over the D major 7, our last phrase sounds like this. And what we're doing here is we're going pentatonic, pentatonic, 2, 2, 4, 2, 5, all pentatonic, 5, 5, all pentatonic, 2, 4. And that 4 again is what turns our D into a D major 7. Now here we're also mostly approaching this from an arpeggio standpoint, with the only note that isn't an arpeggio being this E note, which turns this into a D major 7 add 9, actually. Now, the G note over the D chord doesn't sound good. And that's because this F note and this G note are going to clash. So while over the A7, we had no problem adding the C sharp and the G, and over the E minor, we had no problem adding the G and the C sharp, over the D, we're only going to add just the C sharp. Okay, so our next 4 notes sound like this. And these are all arpeggios. So here, we're not even actually doing scales, we are just playing chord tones. E minor chord, 2, 3, 4, over the E minor, and then the 2. The 2 is a D note, making our E minor and E minor 9. E minor 7, excuse me. Over the A7, we are playing 1, 0, 0, 3. C sharp, major 3rd, E is the 5, A is the root, G is the flat 7. And then over the D, root, major 3rd, 5th, flat 7. And then we go 4, 2. It's a B note, so that is not a chord tone. 5, 4, 5. So the one non-chord tone, the one non-arpeggio tone is this B. So we play through these phrases and we get. Okay, and then the last 4 phrases of our solo, right here, E minor, we get 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here, we're being pretty sour on purpose, but we're getting both that C sharp, D flat, and the G over our E minor. Then over the A7, we're also getting our C sharp and our G again. And then the D major 7. We're doing it again, and we finish the solo on a D note, resolving the whole thing. So that's the whole solo, and that's the theory behind how we got those 2 notes involved. Why don't we go ahead and play this whole solo from the top together? then just keep it going. B major. E minor, use that G note. A, get that C7 involved. D, get that C7 involved. Or not C7, C major. Alright, so there you have it, folks. Enjoy it. So there you have it, folks. You're finally getting that 4th and 7th interval involved in your soloing. So apply these ideas to not just a jazz progression, but any major chord progression, right? Look at it, and it goes in the key of C, C, G, F, E minor. Look at each note and ask yourself, how do the F and the B sound over this specific chord? Can I use them as passing tones? Can I resolve on them? And you'll start to use them, and you'll start to compose bigger, more complex melodies. Keeping in mind, though, that the pentatonic is a very, very nice and powerful scale, and you don't always have to go outside the pentatonic to get cool ideas. A lot of great solos use only the pentatonic. All right, think about becoming a Patreon again, cheaper than a cheap cheeseburger, and it will accelerate your learning. And until next time, keep on rocking and rolling. Have a lovely day, and we'll catch you next Wednesday or Saturday for our next ukulele tutorial. Have a lovely day. Rock and roll, everybody. Life is good.